Okay, looks like we're up and running. Let me just share this. Diablo, Filthy, and Skinsy. Okay, I am up and running. So, welcome to the final round of Season 10. In GT7, this is Mount Panorama in Australia. A great sunset race to kick us off for the final round. Let's go through who we've got here. So, we have Diablo Devil in P13. I can now actually reveal where these drivers are going to be racing next season because it's already been announced. So Diablo will be dropping down to Tier 3, which makes sense when you look at this qualifying performance. Kriller will be staying in Tier 2. He's had some really good results this season. He is in P12 in that Porsche. P11 is Riaba, who I think this will be his final race with us for a little while at least. So he's in P11. Filthy is in P10. He is in the Corvette and is going to drop down to Tier 3. Simon has got the better of him almost all season, and he outqualifies him, and he lines up in P9. Then we've got DB Elite in P8 in the Ferrari. So pretty good result from DB there. P7 for Turbo Boy, who is in with a shout at winning the Constructors tonight. And then we've got our number one driver, Capale. He is in P6, so he hasn't had a great qualifying there. A lot lower than he usually is, and he needs... Well, he's in a championship fight against Bomber mainly, but also Gilles, so he needs to do a little bit better than a P6 if he's going to keep that lead and stop the other guys eating into it. Then we got Kanata in P5 in that Aston Martin. P4 for Skinsy, one of his best qualifyings, maybe his best qualifying of the season in P4 in the BMW M6. Then we've got a new driver, Zico, in the BRZ. Great qualifying for him. He's in P3, only behind the two championship contenders going into this, apart from Capale. Bomber starts in P2. He's got much stronger chance than our pole sitter Gilles of closing the gap, because the gap is much smaller. I think it might have been 6 points. I can't remember off the top of my head to Capale before we start the race. But Gilles have gotten that extra point for scoring pole position. So just give me a second to open the chat in case anyone is going to say anything. Not at the moment. So let's get going with the sprint race. 15 minutes. And we've got 5 lights on, and it is lights out and away we go. And it looks like Bomber got a slightly better start than Gilles. Gilles manages to get a bit more traction as we head into turn 1. He's got the inside line as well, and he does hold it around turn 1. Looks like everyone's getting around turn 1 just fine there. But let's join Bomber at the front. Let's see if he's got a bit of a run on Gilles. He's got the slipstream, definitely. They're both in Mercedes, but different cars. Looks like Bomber's going to try something down the inside here, under braking, and he backs out of it and joins, and they both hit the apex just fine. Looks like Skinsy's got a bit wide there on the exit. He's going to lose a position to DB Elite there. So down to P5 for Skinsy. But it looks like everyone is going to take this corner, which is really bad. Let's see what happened to Kadata there. So he goes really wide actually into turn 2, and that means that Turbo Boy is on the outside of him. And he's going to have to take a much tighter entry, and he doesn't. He actually pushes Turbo into the wall first, and then Turbo rejoins and doesn't have much control of his car and pushes Kanata. Kanata's got damage now. He's going to lose a position to Filthy there quite easy, and Riaba. Oh, it looks like Riaba actually hit the barriers there. That's going to allow Kanata to try and have another look at him, but he backs out of it in this really fast section. You're not really meant to brake, but I think both of them had to put on a little bit of brakes there. So let's go a little bit further forward. So it looks like a little bit of progress made there from the Corvettes due to Kanata's off. And everyone looks like they're navigating this just fine. It's all bunched up at the front though, from Gilles down to DB Elite. They're all very close together, so there might be some slipstream action going on in this very long straight that they've just entered. Yeah, there is a gap. So DB's got the run on Zico. He's going to get the move done. He's going to try around the outside, which is actually the position that you want to be to get an overtake done. It's about to come the inside for the following corner. There's enough space left, and are they both going to be able to brake in time? DB does brake a lot later, and is there going to be a bit of a switchback? Looks like Pale got past Skinsy there as well, which is really important for the championship. So let's rewind a little bit and see what Capel did. So as they round this little kink to the right, oh, Capel's just a little bit braver on the brakes there. He gets the move done quite comfortably. But Gilles is still leading at the moment as we going to stick on board with Capel to see what happens with those cars in front. They are, well, it looks like DB's covered Zico off there, and Zico goes slightly onto the grass. The lead was 8 points going into the final round. So at the moment it would be 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2. So yeah, 6 points Bomber will have caught up to Skidsy as it stands, which means that Capel still has a 2-point lead going into the final round if it finishes as it is, but I'm assuming there'll be some more action because it looks like Skidsy's actually got past Capel again. And he's going to stick it around the outside. Capel gets a much better exit, and it's going to be a bit more comfortable. Skidsy's now under pressure from Turbo Boy, who's trying to make some positions as well when he's thinking about the constructors fight that he's got. And Skinsy's lost 2 positions there in quick succession. Now Capel will be hunting down our new driver Zico, who's all out of shape there. And fortunately for Capel, he does ghost right through him. And that's up to P4, and now he's only on a 4-point deficit potentially to Bomber in this sprint race. So really good progress made already. Oh, and Bomber's P2 looks a little bit under threat. He's got a half-second penalty here, but DB Elite's getting the mountain section all wrong in this track, and he's lost loads of time to Bomber. So even with this half-second penalty, it might not penalise Bomber too much. Let's just ride on board with DB as he will be slowly reeling in Bomber here. So you can see Bomber getting closer and closer as he won't have maxed out his speed limiter in 6th gear. Well, you can't really max it out, but you can get pretty far up it. And yeah, luckily for Bomber, he nailed the mountain section. DB Elite really messed it up and lost loads of time. So even with Bomber's penalty, he's managed to keep hold of P2. But this is great news for Gilles. Gilles has set a 2 minutes 3 flat. These guys are capable of getting into the 2s. A 4.1 for Bomber with his half-second penalty, and a 3.4 for DB Elite. So he could have got into the 2s if it wasn't for that mistake in the mountain section. But Gilles does have the fastest lap of everyone. Let's have a quick look whilst these guys are a bit spread out at what everyone else is doing. Looks like Skidsy's got a huge train behind him already. And he's defending once again from Turbo Boy, but he looks like he's just got enough here to maintain P5. Turbo Boy P6. Simon's worked his way up to P7 now. Riaba is in 8th, splitting the 2 Corvettes, and Kanata is still in 10th. And then at the bottom 3 are a little bit further behind, so Krilla in P11, heading off Diablo, who did start last, and Zico, who had that spin that we saw. He was running up in P3. So how is everyone at the front doing? Oh, Bomber's lost it! Bomber has lost it, right. Let's see what happened. It looks like he took too much gravel on the exit of the next corner coming up now. Yeah, he just goes slightly wide and puts a tyre on the grass, and he had too much throttle applied, and he's lost P2 and P3. Skinsy's going past Turbo Boy. His teammate's gone past him as well. That is not what they need. Fighting for 2 titles. So I'm suspecting that Bomber will get past Turbo Boy on this straight. This is great news for Capel. So Capel is now going to potentially extend his lead by 6 points here, which would give him a lead of 8, 9, 10, 11, 14. I've already revealed the tier for every racer. I did it at the start. The highest placed driver who is staying in tier 1 is who is moving up to tier 1. Well, there's only 2 of them at the moment. It's Capel and Bomber, the 2 championship contenders. Everyone else in the top 8 is tier 2, apart from Skinsy, who's dropping down to tier 3 and he's going to be a reserve for a season by the looks of things. Riaba's not racing as well in P8 there. So, Turbo Boy is keeping position at the moment. Well, he would lose a lot of time actually, because Bomber hasn't really been able to close in ever since he lost that position, well, those positions. There is a bit of battling a bit further up going on though. Capel is hounding DB Elite for P2. He's really caught up to him now, and DB Elite will have to really nail this next section of the track, or else he's going to start backing Capel up into Skinsy and P4 there. Both taking every corner pretty well. Capel loses a bit of traction, took a little bit too much curb on one of those corners. Now this is the section DB clattered the wall a bit. He definitely didn't take that corner very well, and you can see he's a little bit wide in all of these corners as well. Both of them losing a lot of traction. That was a terrible corner from Capel, but it may be a little bit distracted there from DB Elite, but he didn't get any damage. Now Skinsy and Turbo Boy aren't very far behind. There's definitely a fairly large train kind of forming behind DB Elite. Well, actually Capel's potentially at the front of it, because DB is probably 2 and a bit seconds ahead of Capel right now. It looks like Gilles is storming away with it. He's 2.2 was his last lap, so I think it might be difficult for anyone to beat that, because the tyres will start going off at lap 5 and 6. So Capel and Skinsy, you can see both took a little bit too much corner there. It resulted in their cars bouncing, and they weren't able to get onto the acceleration as quickly as they would like. Capel's no longer really troubling DB Elite after that little clatter, half spin, whatever you want to call it, in the mountains. Looks like Filthy's joined the top 8 now, overtaking Riaba. Let's see if there's any battling going on a bit further down. Bomber has managed to get past Turbo Boy there, right there as we speak. So bit of team orders there eventually, I reckon, and Bomber is now going to try and pick his way through this pack potentially. So we might have some on-track action between Capel and Bomber. Simon is at the back of this little train, then there's a gap to Filthy, and then another gap, and Krill has worked his way into the top 10, and Zico as well, after they were outside the top 10 for the majority of the race so far. A little mistake must have been made from Kanata and Riaba, and DB Elite, as you see, clattering the wall. He's got damage. Gilles got a huge lead. He's lapping in the 2s and 3s, whereas DB Elite's in the 3s and 4s. Capel might get challenged on this very long straight now. He might not have too much, if any, slipstream on DB Elite, and Skinsy's definitely got some on him. Maybe not enough to get it done here. No, definitely not. Bomber's losing a bit of pace to these guys. This AMG 20 is just got no top speed at all. It's not one of my favourite cars, to be honest. this will be Skinsey's best chance to overtake Capel, I reckon. We are 10 minutes 30 seconds into the race as well, so we've not got too long left. He's definitely reeling him in. 18.9 is very fast for a first sector as well, but just not enough to try and move. And Capel's losing traction in quite a few corners, and that again distracted Skinsey a little bit. Yeah, the cars they're fairly close. They're not really close enough apart from Skinsey to Capel in terms of getting moves done. DB Elite has a fairly good lead over Capel. Maybe Capel's, well, I was going to say maybe his tyres are going, but it doesn't look like that. He's not driving as well as I'm used to seeing Capel driving though. DB Elite all over the place on that entry again. This corner's really causing him a lot of trouble. Let's ride on board. And he just, yeah, he's braking whilst turning his steering wheel, and it's just caused him to go into the wall and get some damage. So if that damage is still there when we're on the straight, I think this is going to be an easy overtake for Capel. It is still flashing for him. Can't overtake really in the mountain section, it's too tight and twisty. And here we go, this is going to be the overtake for P2, and more good news for Capel as he is 2 points closer once again to the Tier 2 championship. And he's managed to keep that position. Everyone's so close together now, including Bomber. Capel at the front of this group of four and Bomber at the back. So any over-ambitious moves, any mistakes, and Bomber's going to capitalise. Let's ride on board with our championship contender. As it stands, even though Gilles is going to win this race, it would put him out of championship contention because Capel is in P2 and the amount of points difference is not going to be high enough, low enough even. So 19 flat per Bomber there. Is he going to try a move late on Skinsey? He doesn't. Skinsey does brake very late, but makes the corner perfectly. Oh, wide again from DB Elite, but he cuts back onto the inside, which looks like it made Skinsey really lift off the throttle to allow him to kind of do that. And that's put Skinsey a little bit more in the path of Bomber. Big gap now. They've completely dropped Simon by the looks of things. Now this is where DB Elite's been struggling so much this section of the track, so let's see how he takes it this time under a lot of pressure from the cars behind as well. Yeah, that corner especially, the drivers struggle with traction. Yeah, DB Elite's, oh, he's put it, is he put it? No. Oh, what was that? Let's watch again. So we've got Capel pretty much minding his own business. Both of them really struggling with that corner, you can see. But Capel took it a little bit better. He's taken this corner a lot more cautiously. And yeah, DB Elite definitely had too much speed on corner entry there, and that's allowed Skinsey and Bomber to get right behind them. Let's ride on board with Bomber and see who has a go. It looks like DB Elite's blocked Bomber off a little bit there, and now Skinsey instead is doing the bump draft, which is actually potentially going to allow DB Elite to overtake Capel. Oh no, they make some contact, but both of them keep it on the road. It looks like they're both actually taking the corner as well, and it's as you were somehow. The order is in the exact same order as it was before, and now Capel is having to go defensive once again. Skinsey's being really careful into the corner. He doesn't want to collect these two, and Capel loses a bit of traction. Skinsey loses a bit of traction, and Bomber just drives on through, and Simon, who's managed to catch up to them in all this battling, and Capel survives for now in P2. Bomber is now the next one, the championship rival on his hit list. Basically, this is really tense actually. Bomber really has to beat Capel here to give himself the best possible chance at the feature race. And He's got the slipstream, just not enough. He's flashing his lights. Trying to distract Capel. It can be quite distracting depending what view you have, the light flashing. If you're on bonnet cam, obviously you can't see. Oh my god, is this a move for P2? No, Bomber has to tuck back in. He doesn't have the inside line for the next corners, but that mistake from Capel nearly cost him massively. Bomber's hitting the wall. Simon's potentially trying on for a podium here. With all this battle, he's just picking his way through these cars. DB down to 6th now. Oh, terrible mistake from Bomber once again. He doesn't have damage. That's gonna give Capel a little bit of breathing space. Oh, Simon would have had a run there if he hadn't have lost traction. He'd have definitely been able to overtake Bomber, but he might still, because this Corvette is much better on this straight than Bomber's Mercedes. Oh, he's not going to have enough on this occasion, I don't think. Maybe round the kink if he's feeling brave under braking. Bomber's protected the inside line. Simon could have easily made contact with him there. He was turning in. But Bomber survives. And Gilles wins. It's actually the last lap. Capel's going to take P2, Bomber P3, Simon P4, Skinsy P5 in the end, and DB Elite drops to P6. Turbo Boy a solid P7, Filthy in 8th after starting in, I think it was 10th, Krilla in 9th, and Kanata rounding out the top 10. Riaba's just going to miss out, Zico as well. And Diablo Devil actually finished quite a long time ago. So great news for Gilles, he gets the fastest lap. Unfortunately, he is out of the championship fight. Capel does beat Bomber, so he extends the lead. He has over Bomber to 10 points. So he just has to avoid Bomber finishing basically 5 places ahead of him. Or maybe slightly fewer if Bomber manages to win. But he'll have to do it from right at the back of the grid. So let's find that replay now. It looks a lot darker in VR than it does on the replay. I reckon maybe they make the replays a little bit lighter than how it looks, because it did look a lot darker when I was racing as well at this point, the end of the sprint. Alright, let's go to our replays. Feature race. Because you'll see when it turns completely pitch black, it's going to be very difficult to use like the TV view, because you're just going to see lots of darkness and a couple of headlights. So let's just sort everything out and do a quick check of what tyres everyone's on. So we've got mediums, softs for DB Elite, so he's going to try and pick his way through the pack. And softs for Riaba, and softs for Diablo. He's going to try and stay at the front for as long as possible, but this is a good starting position for Zico, who qualified well, so we know he's got pretty decent pace. Filthy in his Corvette could make a couple of easy picks at the start. Simon managed to carve his way through the field pretty well from P9 in the sprint, and then obviously our two championship rivals have absolutely no choice but to get through the field as quick as possible. So I think we will start on board with Capel, because this is really the battle that we need. If he could get past Bomber right at the start, it would bode really well for him. They're going to start before the last corner, so it all depends on how well and how much speed they can take through that last corner. As we can see, Turbo Boy's already spun. He hasn't even started his lap yet, but he's down to the back of the field. So they've both already picked off one driver. Pretty embarrassing mistake there from Turbo Boy. Capel gets a little bit squirrely on the exit and loses a bit of time to Bomber there. He's also got Gilles, but Gilles doesn't look like he's going to be challenging him. So it's going to be as you were. Bomber might actually have a little good look at Simon. He's definitely close enough to start reeling him in. Not enough. Let's just see if anyone went off at turn 2. It looks like no one's in the walls there. Diablo Devil still has the lead. Capel's really closing in on Bomber now because Simon didn't take turn 2 too well. Now these guys will be doing this really tricky section of the track on medium tyres for the first time in quite a while, because remember they were all on softs for the sprint race. Oh no, disaster for Capel. He just was all out of shape taking some of those corners, and Shields just cruised past him. That's a point lost for Capel, down in the difference between 11th and 12th, but we know that they really, well, Capel definitely needs a top 5, potentially P4 would win the championship for Capel. And he's in P12 now, whereas Bomber is still all over the back of Simon as we head onto the straight. Let's see if he can get the move done. Looks like Zico's taking the lead, so we'll watch that as soon as we finish seeing what Bomber's doing here against Simon. Looks like Simon may have let Bomber through there. So a free position for Bomber, which is very helpful for him. Looks like Filthy was a little bit wide there. Skinsy's all over the back of him now. Let's join these and then we'll go back and see the overtake for the lead. That was a great overtake from Skinsy there. But is Filthy going to get the cutback? He's actually got the inside line for the next corner. Now they're both going to make it. This is a really tight corner. Filthy manages to take it and get a free run on the exit to get a really good exit, so he's definitely got P7 consolidated there. And it looks like Diablo and Zico are actually fighting for the lead, and Diablo's going to retake it. He is on the soft tyres. Oh, and he's going to get a little bit of a nudge, and again, that's not good. That's not good driving from our race leader. So let's go back on board. So Simon's got Bomber in front of him. Capel has managed to get past Diablo as well, and Diablo slotted in behind him. So Capel has another position. He needs another 5 or 6, I would say, to feel comfortable with the championship here. Gilles all over the back of Simon as well. So Gilles might get the move done here. This is a very, very brave place to attempt an overtake, and he has to back completely out of it. How is everyone taking the little twisty part of the mountains? We've gone deep up into the mountains and we're about to go downhill quite substantially. Bomber hits the side there on the exit, loses all of his momentum, which might be great news for Simon, but Simon, we saw, probably is thinking about being nice to our championship contenders in this race, because he did let Bomber pass, so even if he caught up to him, I don't think he'd try a move. Shield all over the back of Simon though. He's definitely going to have a run. He could potentially get him if he decides to outbrake him into this turn, final corner of the track. Got the inside, and he's going to have the inside for the next corner, but Simon gets great, great opportunism there from Capel. So loses traction to Gilles, and he's actually lost 3 positions because he's now dropped behind Diablo, and Diablo spins again. Oh, that's twice in 2 laps he's been spun around. He'll be sick to his stomach. But back to the championship, so Capel is only 2 places behind Bomber right now. Remember, he started 1 place behind Bomber, so Bomber's still making better... oh, what's happening here? Bomber and Skinsy and Filthy are all very close together. Bomber's just biding his time. Both of them go a bit wide. Bomber sticks his car in, and Skinsy can't turn into the corner, and Bomber gets that position. It looks like Filthy's got a second penalty, so all Bomber has to do is just stick close behind Filthy, and he's going to get another free position and work his way into the top 6 already. Actually, Filthy might lose a lot of positions there. You saw he just didn't take much speed around that corner compared to Bomber. Capel's managed to get past... Oh, Capel actually goes wide. Let's see what happened. So he's got Simon ahead of him. So both oh, Skinsy's gone wide, and Capel has to kind of dive into this escape road. Is he going to get a penalty as a result? Let's have a look. Yeah, he gets a second penalty. He'll be sick to his stomach getting that. Just as he'd worked his way into the top 10, he's going to drop right back. So let's ride on board with Bomber. He's going to benefit massively from the slipstream of Filthy there. And he gives him a little bump draft and just goes through and takes P6. And what's going to happen to Capel now? He's going to lose 2 positions there. And potentially a third to Turbo Boy, who's trying to fight his way through. Now Capel is exactly where he started, and we are 6 minutes into the final 40-minute race for the championship. Loads of work to do here for Capel, as you've got Skinsy and Jill battling. Looks like Jill's gotten past Skinsy now. Skinsy's got the run on him though here. And is he going to... No, he can't stick it around the outside. And now is Turbo Boy going to get through as well? Oh, whoa! Horrible. This was reported to the stewards, and Turbo Boy did get a penalty. He was waiting a little bit there for Gilles, and Gilles too far back, basically. So, 1 free position for Capel, and he's got a run on Skinsy here as well. He'll have to be really brave here if he's going to get the move done. He could have potentially, but he thought better of it, and he keeps P10 for now. It's always a special moment when you... Oh, Skinsy's lost it! Capel's just going to slide through. Wow. You don't see many overtakes, or any, ever, in that part of the track. Obviously it was assisted a little bit, but that was great work from Capel to get back up into P9, and next in his sights will be Filthy, who we can't actually see. Simon is still behind Bomber, so Bomber's still P6, and he's going to be trying to close the gap to Krilla. You can see DB Elite's up in 3rd now as well, which is a good bit of work from him getting himself into the top 3 already. He is on the softs, remember, the highest placed runner on the softs. So let's stick with Capel because he might have a run here on Turbo Boy. It's a very long straight. And once we get in a 6th gear, that Mercedes is going to struggle. There we go. There's the slipstream taking full effect here. Capel will want to dive around to the outside. Oh no, but the corner's blocked. Remember, Turbo Boy is the championship rival's teammate, so he's not going to make things easy for Capel here. He pushes him all the way to the outside. Actually, Capel gets a little bump draft there from Skinsy. And he's yeah, he should get this position now. Oh, he gets a bit bumped through the corner there from Skinsy as well. Almost. So Capel back up into P9 once again. So he's now just 3 positions behind Bomber, which would be 9. At the moment, as it stands, Capel has enough to win the championship still. So he just needs Bomber to stop making progress up the grid, essentially. Riaba with the fastest lap, but it's the 3.4 that'll definitely get beaten. And Krilla's getting reeled in here by Bomber now. He's gone very wide there. He's got a bit of a gap to Simon behind, so we can just focus on trying to get as close as possible to Krilla. Put him under a bit of pressure, see if Krilla could be forced into a mistake. Excuse me. And he might actually have a run on him when we exit the mountain section and we get past this hairpin here. Someone's hit the wall. So doesn't look like he's close enough yet to get a move done here. Yeah, but they are dropping Simon at the moment, so that's good news for Bomber. Let's see, where's Capel? Capel is just pretty much all on his own here. He's got to take advantage of the clear air to reel in Filthy in front. Might be another lap or 2 before that happens. But Bomber's really closed in and kept the pressure up on Krilla here, and he might be able to get a run down to turn 2. No, you can see how much this car's struggling with straight line speed. Even with the slipstream, he's not really closing the gap on such a long straight as well. Bomber maybe a little bit frustrated here, flashing the lights at Krilla. Krilla takes that corner much better than last lap. Let's see what's going on at the front. So Zico is still in front. He's not too far ahead. Oh, and he just hit the wall there, clattered the wall, and he's got DB Elite on the softs behind him. So DB is not making the soft strategy work, in my opinion. He's got 5 laps now, and he's not in first, and he's getting held up by a medium tired car. Then we got Riaba not too far behind, so he's having a pretty decent go of it also on the softs. Kanata in 4th, just being pretty quiet. I can't really remember where he started. I think it was outside the top 10 in the sprint race, so he'll be near the front, and he's the second highest medium runner, so he's doing pretty well. And then we've got this battle between Krilla, who's managed to gap Bomber a little bit, and he's not going to come under pressure here. We've got Simon a little bit further back, Filthy a little bit further back again, and then there's still this big gap to Capel. So the top 8 definitely in a league of their own, and Capel has all the work to do here. Any battling further back? Looks like we've got a DNF, so Diablo, after his getting spanned twice, I guess he didn't want to continue his season, and it ends here. Maybe he'll have some better luck in Tier 3. Ooh, Shield nearly collects the back of Turbo Boy there. Let's see the battle for the lead, see if anything's going to happen here. They've just turned turn 1 there. These are 2 cars that probably quite similar speeds on a straight. I don't know why I couldn't say that. Now you can see it's properly starting to get dark now. It's actually pitch black, I think, on the screens at this point. Oh, Zico hit the wall again there. No damage. Yeah, we've got Bomber. He's definitely getting closer here. Just right on board again. Oh, what happened? Whoa. Okay, it looked like Bomber got absolutely clattered into the wall by Krilla, but let's see why that happened here. Oh, right, okay. So it looks like Krilla hits the wall a tiny bit, and then Bomber pushes him onto the grass. He loses all control, and now Bomber has loads of damage. Front tyres, both of them, and front bumper. Simon's managed to get past him, and wow, this is a disaster for him, basically. Well, lucky for him, Simon let him pass once. Maybe he'll do it again, but they're both, well, Simon's potentially got an overtake on Krilla here, and he's got P5 in his sight, so he probably won't be thinking about that right now. Yeah, easy overtake there on the Corvette. Best overtaking car on the track at the moment, I reckon. And Simon's into P5. Bombers. Oh, well, it's not a done deal though, because Krilla had a little look at him into the chicane, and they've had a little battle there, and Bomber's right behind them as well. Actually, Bomber dives into the pits. Let's see if he can take the pit entry. Yeah, he takes it perfectly. Bomber is trying one of his famous undercuts, so he's going to do 45 minutes plus a lap on soft tyres, which him and Capel's doing the exact same thing, and Skinsy and Turbo Boy. So all four drivers further back in the field have decided to try an undercut here. Bomber and Capel have the exact same fuel as well. Interesting strategies. Well, let's join the battle at the front, because DB Elite is still not able to get past Zico here. He'll be hoping Zico pits this lap. Maybe he'll have seen a bunch of drivers pit and want to do the same. Looks like Zico's actually gapping him. They've both decent amount ahead of Riaba now though, and Kanata's kind of on his own. Same with Simon now. Oh, he's got Krilla actually for company, and Filthy's not too far behind, so they were all losing a lot of time there on that lap. And the risk that all these drivers that have stayed out is that they are still kind of fighting each other with more worn tyres and a slower compound than the guys who've pitted, so there's an opportunity for like huge undercuts here as long as the guys who pit nail their outlaps. Shield's a long way back in P8 actually, and then you've got Bomber in P9. He's come out a long way ahead of Capel. So this is great news for Bomber in terms of potentially getting an overcut. None of the leading pack apart from Bomber went into the pits on that lap. So the potential is he could overtake a good chunk of them, maybe all of them if there's some sort of incident near the front. Here we go, Zico has come into the pits, so that's going to release DB Elite. Actually, DB's in the pits as well. Riaba's the only one that continues. He's still on soft, so he could go for a little while longer. Look how much life he's still got on the front right. That's the one that wears the most around here. And Kanata has carried on as well. Not too far behind Riaba as well. So let's see about Bomber. Can Bomber get past? Probably won't be able to get past DB Elite or Zico, because he was quite far behind him. Those were the leading two drivers before the first pit stops. Looks like they have got out. Oh, a 4-second penalty. Zico doesn't get a penalty, comes out ahead of Gilles, who's not even pit yet, so our race 1 winner is having a terrible time. Already a pit stop down to some people. DB Elite's surely going to lose, 4 seconds, yeah, probably will lose a position to Bomber. He's miles ahead of him at the moment. Capel still has a bunch of clear air, and Bomber is still the only person ahead of him, but there's a huge gap. So let's see, is there any battling going on? I don't think so. Oh, apart from these guys. So let's stick with these guys until DB has to serve his penalty. We can see if Bomber can actually catch up to him. So Filthy losing a bit of traction there on the exit, and maybe losing his opportunity to overtake Krilla with an easy overtake. Looks like Kanata's left the session as well. Disconnected. Yeah, Filthy couldn't get the move done there. But these guys don't really want to be battling. They'll all be peeling into the pits now. Let's see about DB Elite. He's just hitting the penalty zone now. You can see the two lights of Bomber just closing in so quickly there, because it's a very high speed part of the track, and he slowed down to basically a snail's pace. Very easy overtake for Bomber, actually not an overtake at all, and Capel is still really far behind, and DB Elite's, well, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes for the rest of the race, he should finish ahead of Capel, because there's a huge gap there. Now we've got Zico, who was our race leader, in the pits. Let's see if Bomber can actually overtake him. Looks like he has quite comfortably, to be honest. Bomber does have the fastest lap in the last lap as well, a 3-minute flat. So it looks like Zico's losing out massively in the pits there. And we've got DB Elite in P5, Krilla's coming out in P6. Capel's in 7th, so he's actually rejoined behind his, I think it's his teammate, yeah, they're both Porsches. And Capel was probably flashing him to say like, hey, it's me, get out of the way pretty soon, I need to get some more positions. You can't see, he'll be able to see that Bomber's in P4, and the 3 ahead of him haven't pitted yet, so Bomber is potentially in the net race lead for doing that massive undercut. Getting quite fortunate with some penalties, etc. DB Elite's quite far behind as well, so it's not like he's going to come under pressure from any drivers, because I have a feeling Riaba and Simon and Filthy will be way back once they pit. I don't think they've got the strategy right at all here, pitting on lap 10. I think Krilla might have an opportunity of a podium here, to be honest. Especially if you get past DB. Same goes for Capale, who's just behind him. Capale needs to pick off a couple of people. But I have a feeling Riaba, Simon and Filthy will slot in between DB and Bomber, because DB is... I was actually saying he was way ahead of Capale, but he's lost a load of time again on this lap. So he's having some nightmare corners here, and that's kind of one of the reasons he's staying in Tier 2 as opposed to moving up to Tier 1, because he's got some really good pace, can put it on pole position easily, well not easily, but quite often, and makes a few mistakes in the race though sometimes, and also his internet doesn't help, glitching him into different positions. So Simon is coming out of the pits now. Is he going to be ahead of DB Elite? DB Elite's coming around turn 1. It looks like Simon's got the P3s, potentially net P2 if he can nail this outlap. And then Filthy slots into P5 as well, ahead of Krilla. So that's yeah, Krilla's had maybe a bad couple of corners there because he was a lot closer to DB. Capale's right behind Krilla as well. He's down in 7th. This is not good for Capale. That poor first stint, couple of really poor laps sent him backwards instead of forwards when he was making progress, and this is kind of the consequence, I suppose. He's in a huge amount of traffic, including his teammate in front of him. Skinsey's not too far behind as well. Well, he actually just got overtaken. Riaba's finally in the pits. But let's stick on board. Capale's flashing his teammate again. He's saying, get out my bloody way. Capale's going to use all the slipstream. He's flashing again. And it doesn't look like Capale's letting him through. Capale is not playing the teammate game in the final race of the season. And now he backs out of it. Yeah. Because that could have easily ended up in Krilla punting Capale into the wall there. Looks like Filthy and DB Elite were having a little bit of a battle ahead of us as well, but DB still won that one for now. Now Capale's going to have to try and do something very difficult, and that'll be overtake a Corvette. So if Filthy doesn't put a foot wrong, I don't think that's going to be possible. And Filthy might overtake DB Elite before that happens anyway. Bomber is in the race lead. Riaba's in P2 now, so he's made that soft stint work. He's going to be going backwards, but he's got a huge lead to Simon behind him. DB Elite only just ahead of Filthy right now. If I was Filthy, I'd be thinking I need to get this move done fairly quickly so that I don't come under pressure from Capale. He's all over my arse. Something's happened to Krilla. He's down in P8. He's lost a position to Zico, and he's lost a position to Skinsey there. Actually, he's got the position back with an outrageous switchback. So Krilla, who was up with Capale, who's in P6 now, has dropped back a little bit, and Zico has actually joined the back of these guys as well. So Capale might be under threat on this next corner. Zico's definitely got a move, an opportunity here. What's Capale going to do? Is he going to get bump drafted? No, it looks like Zico can't really do much. He does end up going for the bump draft in the end. It was a bit of a tricky section. Looks like Filthy's finally got past DB Elite there as well. So that makes it a tiny bit easier for Capel, because he might find it easier to overtake DB Elite compared to Filthy. And that's 2 Corvettes in the top 4 now. Awesome bit of work from the Corvette guys. DB's looking hungry though. Really good exit there from Filthy. Is he going to be able to stick into the slipstream? No, it looks like Filthy's actually still... Well, no, he's catching him a bit now. No, it's pretty much equidistant, and Capel's a little bit too far back to even trouble him. Whoa, yeah, bit naughty there. It's that could be an easy position for Capel now, because he's bumped into the back of him and there was a bit of time lost. Not quite. Zico's all over the back of Capel as well. Oh, DB hits the wall, no damage, and kind of blocks Capel a little bit as well, but DB gets the half-second penalty. Looks like Capel's gonna lose a position. Distracted by DB Elite, Capel makes a bit of a mistake there and loses P6. So as it stands, Bomber, it looks like I don't know what's happening with Filthy. He's lost control. So Capel is in P6 once again. Everything's going on here. So Capel, as it stands, is 2 points behind Bomber. He needs to overtake Zico for the end of the race to get level on points, and then it goes to count back, and I can't remember who's won more races. I have a feeling it's Bomber. So really, Capel, to be sure, needs to overtake Zico and Filthy. They might do him a bit of a favour here. If Zico manages to have a bit of an incident with Filthy, let's ride on board with Capel, see what's going to happen. No. Oh, is he... Oh, what's happened? What is going on there? Right. I don't know what happened there with Zico. He just looked like he spun on his own. Yeah, he hits the grass. Filthy collects him. He's in a half spin. He manages to actually avoid spinning completely. He gets going pretty fast. He's lost 2 positions there. And Capel is up into P5. That means Bomber and Capel, with the fastest lap, are level on points. And now Capel's going to have a good run on Filthy here. He's definitely got the slipstream. He's going to try and move around the outside. It would be very ambitious if he does. Yeah, he can't even get the switch back there because of the way that Filthy placed his car. Feels like Capel's losing a lot of time behind Filthy here. I wonder if Capel knew at this point that he needed to get this overtake done. Well, he's got to run on him, but this isn't an overtaking part of the track. The corners just come too thick and fast. It's not any part of the track where you can take side by side. Capel had more wins. So as it stands, actually, Capel would win, but they'd have level points. So he just needs to avoid getting overtaken by Zico again, and the best way to do that is overtaking Filthy. He's definitely not close enough here to take advantage enough of the slipstream. But they do have a bit of a gap to Zico now. Zico's got damage, so he took the mountain section pretty badly. Actually, Krill is starting to catch up to these guys again, and Gilles managed to get his way back into the top 8. But let's stick with Capel, because this is the important battle. If it was tied on wins, then it would go to the most P2s. Oh, Filthy takes that corner pretty bad. He loses a lot of traction. He's lost a lot of acceleration there, which could open the... No, even then, Capel's still not close enough to get a move done. This is a track that really favours the Corvette. It might be the best car for this track. Whereas, oh, but not if you take a corner like that. Now, what's going to happen here? This is not... Yeah, Capel has to back out of it. And he's... Yeah, he could have tried to dive up the inside, but he'd have just punted Filthy into the wall. Now they're getting caught again by Zico with all that fighting. Well, basically, Filthy's mistakes are causing it. You can hear that BRZ behind. Sounded like he hit the wall again. Now he's going to try and move down the inside. That's not going to work, and because he tried that little half move, he's just lost a position to Zico. And once again, it looks like, yeah, right, is going to be the championship leader. Actually, Krillas and Gilles are right behind him as well. Lapping in the 205s on softs is not good enough, essentially. Zico's got a great run on Filthy, but he's not in his slipstream, and he's going to start realising that that's not a good idea. He's dipped back into the slipstream, catching him a little bit now. He's going to try the move. Last time these two were side by side, Zico ended up in the grass. And they both nearly hit each other, and they're still side by side. And Filthy's going to have the inside line for the next corner. It looks like he's won this battle for now. Yeah, and Capel, is he going to try a move? He could have, if he had a little bit better traction. He's got great. He'll have a double slipstream here. But he takes turn one a bit worse than Zico. Zico's proving to have some really good pace here. So, Filthy defending once again, and it looks like Zico's going to get moved around the outside. No, he hits the wall, and that puts Capel back into P5 once again. He's got a bit of a run here on Filthy. These overtakes are happening in very unusual parts of the track. People make mistakes all over the place. It kind of looks like Capel's pushing Filthy along here. They're so close together. It looks like Bomber's absolutely ran away with it, so I think the win is not in doubt. So it's all on what can Capel do from here. If he gets to the front of this pack, I think that'll be it for him. He'll be able to drive away, but with every driver here making mistakes, just as Capel made another one there, he's got Zico all over the back of him once again. Zico might have a run here. I don't know how much Capel's going to be able to take advantage of that slipstream of the Corvette in front of him. He's not close enough, really. Same could be said for Zico as well. So we enter our 17th lap now. Capel is in P5, Bomber is in P1. Riaba we have hardly spoke about, but he's having the best race of his season here as Capel goes wide on the exit of turn 1. We need to see what happened here. This looks like an unforced error. And yeah, he loses traction there. He's on the grass as well, and this is a really long straight to do that. He's lost a position to Zico, he's lost a position to Gilles. He's going to lose a position to Krilla. Oh no, he gets bump drafted from his teammate back up to speed. That is some good teamwork there. Capel's rear right is nearly dead from all the kind of sliding he's doing, I guess. So Capel is down into P7. That means Bomber is currently ahead in the championship by 4 points. It looks like the championship is swung once again in favour of Bomber. This is potentially the worst feature race we've seen from Capel all season long. Oversteer. Ah, yeah, makes sense. And he's got a bit of a gap as well to work up his way back up to Gilles. We're down to 10 as well. So let's see what Bomber's up to. Lapping in the 203s most of the time. See how pitch black it is. This view isn't very helpful. Then we got Riaba comfortably in P2 by the looks of things. He's on the mediums though, so he is still going to have to fend off Simon potentially at the end, who's on those softs. Maybe the last lap will kind of balance it out between the two tyre compounds though. Filthy, comfortable, well, not too comfortable P4, but he is a little bit further ahead of Zico now, and Gilles is hounding Zico as we head around this little bend before this fast, well, kind of fast chicane. It is in third gear. Nice little battle going on, basically all from P2 down, I would say. So Capel's got 4 minutes left to get something done. It is pitch black for these guys. Mistakes are a lot easier to do in the mountain section, as we've seen multiple times in this race. You see the stars in the sky. It's a completely clear nighttime. Oh, Zico's lost it! And he's completely spun around. So that is one more position for Capel, I should say. I always get those two mixed up. Zico's all the way near the back. He's going to be in P9 now. He was having a really good race, but he lost it all on his own, unfortunately. So Capel has to start catching up to Gilles pretty fast now. He's not too far behind. I think that spin probably cost Gilles a bit of time as well. He hasn't got any damage, but obviously having to take avoiding ash from a spinning car does put you off a little bit. And just like that, there is a glimmer of hope. 2 points behind now is Capel. It looks like Zico is spinning again. I can see on the mini-map. Looks like there's been a change for the lead. Let's see what happens here. It looks like Simon just gets a better exit out the hairpin. Yeah, he is, because look how fast he's accelerating now, and it looks like an easy overtake for Simon. Is he going to have it for the little kink? Yes, I think he has. So nice P2 for Simon. And Riaba on the mediums has a little bit of a gap still to Filthy behind. So Filthy could potentially get a double podium for the Corvettes if he can make the most of these tyres for the rest of the race. I think it's 2 laps left now. No, this will be the final lap that they're on. Bomber might get an extra lap. Gilles in P5, Capel right behind him in P6, so this might be his best chance to get the position and get the championship. Have to be brave under braking here. He's going to try something around the outside. He's trying to do the cutback, but his path is blocked. If you just got a notification, that is going to be deleted. We don't have a race next week. Oh, what has happened there? So was that Capel's fault? Did he nudge? Yeah, he did. Gilles was. But then Gilles still kind of goes into the wall on his own. And is Capel giving the position back? It looked like it. But actually, is he going to lose another one? He's getting pushed out of the way there from Turbo Boy. Now Turbo Boy's into the wall. And Capel gets that position back. I'm not sure Well, these didn't end up in the stewards' rooms, any of these little incidents, so bit of a confusing few corners there for Capel, but he is still in P6, but he's probably, with all of that commotion, lost his ability to get P5, and Gilles going to get away with it there, despite that little mistake from, well, I don't know, was Gilles going too slow for that corner, or was Capel maybe just a little bit too close? Capel saying I bumped him, okay. Well, that bump puts an end to the hopes, but let's see if Bomber is going to get the last lap. It looks like he's not going to get an extra lap out of this, so we are going to ride on board the final corner with Bomber. Absolutely amazing strategy, wins the race for Bomber once again. Not the first time I've said that this season, but it is certainly the last. Bomber's taking P1 and potentially the championship with a commanding win in Bathurst. Simon rounds the final corner to take a great P2 to round off his season in the Corvette. Riaba in P3, he manages to cling on the medium, so he definitely made that strategy work for him. Filthy P4, Gilles is comfortably ahead of Capel and gets P5, which means Capel is our runner-up. Bomber is our champion of Tier 2. Krilla P7, Turbo Boy, after his problems on the final lap, is going to be P8 in the end. There he is, really far back actually. Zico and Skinsy actually having a last lap, last corner battle there, and a drag race to the line. Zico gets P9, Skinsy P10 to round off his season on his way down to Tier 3. And that's it. Our champions in the Constructors also is the Mercedes AMG, so Bomber does the double, and he's moving up to Tier 1, as is Krilla. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. Next season, I'm going to be commentating Tier 2 again. So you'll see a lot of these faces and a few new ones coming up from, I think 5 came up from Tier 3. We've had 3, I think, come down from Tier 1, and 1 came up from Tier 4. So car selection is currently underway. Everyone's testing cars. We'll find out what everyone's driving on Monday. Calendar gets released on Friday, and on the 16th is our first race. So yeah, join me then. Thanks for watching.